What is going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So as you can see, we've got the Hellcat on the trailer right here behind us. We are getting ready to head on up to Lebanon Valley Raceway. We're going to see what we can do with this thing, try to get it dialed in a little bit. It'll be our first time at the track with the car, so we're probably just going to do a whole bunch of 60-foot hits and see how it goes. If it feels good, obviously we'll run one out the back, but we've got a lot of testing to do with this car. Pretty much everything in it is new. We've got the new 428 that's in it, the new Whipple, the 9-inch rear, and the coilover. So we've got a lot of stuff to try to dial in today, but you've got to start somewhere, so we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. If you guys aren't already, please think about subscribing and ringing that bell. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video with the GTO, the Duramax, or the Hellcat. Let's jump right into today's video. So we just got out here to the track. We got the car unloaded. We did get through tech, so super pumped about that. Now we're gonna go up, take a look at the track, figure out the layout so that I know what's going on when we get up there, and then we'll get this thing fired up. We've got a tune to load into it, and then Ripa is sending us a channel list so that we have something to data log, so he has all the info that he needs. After we get that done though, we will be ready to warm it up and then get it up to the lanes and make our first test hit. So let's go ahead and get the car prepped. Alright guys, so as you've seen, we just did our first run. Didn't go as planned, mostly my fault. We were waiting in line for like an hour and I got flustered when we got up to the line. It didn't feel like it was doing a very good burnout, which kind of just threw me off. So when I pulled to the line, I pushed through the brakes a little bit by mistake, which again threw me off. I didn't put it in manual mode and leave it second like we were planning to. So that was a pretty botched run, which sucks because we were in line for like an hour. The burnout was way too weak. It just didn't feel like it was doing one. So when we go back up, we're gonna go get in line after Ripa reviews the log. We're gonna go get back in line. We'll definitely do a better burnout. I lowered the tire pressure a couple pounds and we're gonna see what this thing does. A lot of this is me getting used to the car as well as trying to dial the car in since it's my first time running this thing here. We got a lot of learning to do, but this is how you get better at it, just by trying. So let's get this thing cooled off, turned around, and head back out. Alright guys, so we just got back from our second run. It went much better than the first one. There is still a ton left in this car. We did a 60 foot, lots of sixes in that, and it felt pretty good. It definitely spun some more, and then it made a move to the left, probably about, I don't know, maybe 150, 200 foot out. So that kind of sucked because I was gonna run it right out the back because it was the last run of the day. Sadly, we only got 2 runs. Super busy test and tune. It's a nice track and it was opening day, so it was extremely busy. But for our first time running the car, I'm super happy with how it came out. I will show you guys the time slips when we get back to the house, but they are not very impressive, to be honest with you. It just learning it, you know. So we got the 60 foot down, but we've still got a lot of work to do down track. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing loaded up and then go grab some lunch and head home. All right guys, so as you can see, we are back at the house in the garage. We got the GTO right here behind me, but I wanted to go ahead and take a couple minutes and just explain to you guys each run because I didn't do a very good job of explaining it at the track. I was kind of just in a rush and excited and trying to make my first passes. So you guys got to remember, this is my first time ever going down a prep drag strip. Obviously, I've played around on the street quite a bit, but I've never actually gone to the drag strip. So the tree, the procedure, all that stuff is brand new to me. We plan on doing a whole bunch more of that this year. We did a bunch of roll racing last year, but this year I want to try to transition more to drag racing. So we obviously have a whole new setup in the Hellcat. It's got the 9-inch coilovers, the new motor, the new blower. Pretty much everything on that car is new and new to me. I've only driven the thing one other time and it was on the street and we only drove like 2 miles and I didn't make any test hits with it. So this was really my first time driving this thing altogether and my first time at the drag strip. So there was a lot of learning to be had. As you guys seen in the first pass, that was 100% driver error. I didn't put it in sport mode like we were supposed to because that's how we have the tune set up. When you put it in sport mode, a lot of things change, including the shift strategy. So that was a big part of it, and traction control was still on. So when I went to leave, it spun a little bit and then fell on its face, and I tried to get back in it and it kind of wandered to the left a little bit out of the groove, and I didn't want to stand back on the throttle out of the groove and have this thing spin on me, especially on my first pass. So I kind of just let it come back a little bit and then laid back into it just to see how it was going to react. So let's go ahead and take a look at the time slip from the first pass. So as you can see, we've got it right here. I'm not worried about reaction times at all right now. I've got a lot of other things to learn besides reaction times. We'll start working on that once we get the car dialed in. So for 60 foot on the first one, it was a 2.258, which is horrible. Like I said, lots of issues that led up to that, including me just being flustered as a driver. We waited in line for over an hour, and by the time I got up there, not gonna lie, I was just a little bit anxious or nervous, and I didn't really do everything that I had planned to do once I got into the car. So that led up to a terrible pass. But let's go back to taking a look at the time slip. So the 60 was 2.258, and then 330 was 6.235. 660 was 8.904 at 99 mile an hour. 1,000 foot was 11.031, and then quarter mile was 13.104 at 100.53 mile an hour. Now, obviously, this car has a ton left in it. Once again, that was my first pass, and we just kind of botched it. That was 100% my fault. I will not blame the car at all for that. That was completely driver error. So on to the second pass, everything went a little bit better. The burnout was much better, and I was just a lot more comfortable. We did wait in line quite a while again, but we had the inner chiller on the Hellcat going so that it would help cool it back down, and it was doing a pretty good job. So we pulled up to make the second pass, and everything went a little bit better. The burnout was better. I was more comfortable in the car. I kind of knew what to expect. It did stall on me after the burnout, so that's why you guys see me sit there for a minute. After we did the burnout, I had to get the car restarted again. Once again, I don't think that the car stayed in sport mode in the traction control department, and then also transmission. I don't think it stayed in track because it shut off. I think when I restarted it, it reset it. So next time, next weekend, I'm gonna make sure that I leave the driver pages up so that if anything like that does happen, I can just go ahead and click it and get it back into the mode that we need it to be in. But let's go ahead and take a look at the time slip from run number 2. So as you guys can see here, run number 2 was much better. Our reaction time still horrible, but we don't really care about that. Our 60 foot was 1.660. Super happy with that for my second run ever. Still has a ton left in it. 330 was 4.314. 660 was 6.764 at 90.97 mile an hour. Once again, a ton left in this thing. 1,000 foot was 9.329, and quarter mile was 11.847. Much better than the first run. As you can see, our mile an hour in the quarter was only 84 mile an hour. So I was way out of this thing way before we ever got to the stripe. So like I said, there is a ton left in this car. We're hoping to get back out there again next weekend. I've got a ton more learning left to do with this thing, as well as getting the car dialed in itself. But we're going to focus on me getting a routine down and getting used to it and practice and just make as many runs as we can. So as always, guys, I appreciate you for checking out the channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell so that you get notified anytime we put out a video with the GTO, the Duramax, or the Hellcat, and we will catch you on the next one.